Greetings everybody, fear not, I've not abandoned the glorious horde. Yes, come on in, let's give everybody a wave. Hello. Yes, I'm using this because I'm using this hunter, this dwarf hunter, because I want to show off the new guild and community system, and all my characters are currently in guilds over on the horde. But before we do, let's get out of the way. Get out of the way of all that craziness. There we go. Before we do, I want to touch upon Mythic, which you spoke about yesterday, and we didn't know quite how they were going to make it more difficult. Obviously, they can't fundamentally change the mechanics, but maybe they could do something a little bit more, a little bit outside of the norm, and that they have in a certain respect. So, as many of you will know, we always get a 30% increase when we get a new tier. We get a new patch, a new season, then plus, the difficulty goes up by about 30%, hence why our keys get depleted down about 3 levels. Now, this time around, Season 4, which as you will know, the keys are going all the way up to 15 now, is actually going to get a 45% increase in damage. So, above and beyond what we would normally expect to see, 15% damage difference. Which is not insignificant, especially as you start pushing higher and higher keys, and you're going to get people who desperately want those keys, wanting to do, or desperately wanting the gear, we should say, wanting to do those higher and higher keys. So it should be an interesting balancing act, and we shall see. We shall see. But I'm all for it. As I said in the video yesterday, I don't do high end, but if this seems to me like something good, it seems like an appropriate action, and that hopefully you then get an appropriate reward, which is all you can ask for in gaming. It's all you can ask for. But enough of M+. We're here to talk about friends. Yes, we're here to talk about the community and what that entails with the new guild community system. So let's hit J and let's have a look. As you can see there, a little sneaky peek. That was the Preach Gaming Community Group. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So, let's look at Guild Finder first. What do we have? By the way, please try and ignore some of the groups I'm part of. Some very childish friends. I did not create any of these groups, of course. So, we have a couple of options. We have Focus. What is it we want to achieve? And in there, we've got Social and Leveling, Dungeons, Raids, PvP, and Role-Playing. Then we have guild size. You have small, medium, or large. Then obviously your preferred role. We're on a hunter, so we can only be DPS. Then you can search for anything in particular that you might want. If you know the guild you want, you can type their name in there, etc. And then hit search. So let's have a look. Let's go for social. Let's go for small. Let's go search. Oh, we got some. So I don't know. I will say this now. I don't know whether you're going to need to go back in, jizz up your guild's recruitment, and then repost it, or whether it's just currently going to be active. But to be fair, I would go back, given that we've got this new system and a lot of people are going to be looking, I would go back and just jazz up your guild application. If you're looking for new members, just really nail down what it is your guild wants to do. That way, you get the best possible recruits you want, and the recruits get the best possible experience they want from the guild. They're not, I want to do PvP, and you just want to get loads of people in, so you've ticked PvP, but actually your guild doesn't do PvP. It's time to go back, relook at this. So, we got small, what about it? We go large, we go large, large. And there's the big boys. So this, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to say this now. Again, touching upon what we just spoke about with regards to guilds uploading and updating onto this list. Now, this is an evolution, shall we say, of the guild finder, because it used to exist. And I remember when, back in Warlords of Draenor, I wanted to create the best way I can describe it is a confederation. I wanted a number of small guilds that weren't big enough to raid, because I was trying to recruit raiders at this point. And it was failing horribly. Thought, hey, there's got to be lots of guilds that are in the same position. Why don't we just band together and raid? And that's what we did. In the classic world of raiding, how these things often pan out. We did some raiding. It was fun. And then the usual conversations of, hey, why don't we just cut a load of these people? Then we'll be super awesome, cool, and we can do we can do heroic, and we can do mythic. That sounds like an amazing plan. I kind of turned around and said, hang on a minute. Like, it's only a couple of months ago, and for several expansions, none of you are raided at all. now we have the opportunity to raid, and isn't that enough? Isn't that what you want? Don't you want to bring everybody on that journey, rather than now we're cutting people just because we want some item level, which we weren't going to get anyway if we had carried on. Anyway, the craziness of people. So that's the system we now got. What else can we get? Let's look at some dungeons. So you can multi-select, you can pick different things that you want. Obviously you can only pick one particular size of guild. And yeah, as I say, it's good. It's a good evolution. What I was touching upon with the Warlords of Draenor story was when I was looking for those guilds, when I was looking to do an alliance with some guilds, I went through the entire list, I got the names, I would go onto WoW Armory, and I would look up to see whether these guilds were active, what they'd been doing. But if they were already raiding, there was no point talking to them. And lo and behold, I would say, probably conservatively, a good 90% of the list were guilds that were dead, and had been so since Cataclysm. Bear in mind, this was Warlords of Draenor I was doing in, so I'm not sure if this is going to be the same. It doesn't show where there's activity, it doesn't show anything like that, so I can't see. I could, you know, no offense, Zero Horizon, if you're out there, but is this guild active? Are they doing things? I don't know whether this active members, is that unique users or is that characters? So those sort of things I'm not 100% sure on, and those are quite important. The reason I say that is this could be a guild of alts, and it could be a guild that's primarily left and gone to play Classic. So I don't know, and those are things that'll be interesting to see over time. Now, the other thing that has been increased or improved is find a community. Communities really saddened me because, this is why I was on the Preach Gaming community, because when they first came out, they were really good. They were really good. They were everything people wanted. So there are two types of community, if you don't know, if you've never joined one. There is the faction community. So I could join a community now, and I could join it purely as a Horde player. But it's not account-wide, it's purely for this character. So I could have 50 characters and I'd have to join individual on each one. And there's a cap, there is a limit of 1,000 that you can have. So very quickly you can fill up an entire roster with characters, but there's actually only a handful of people because they've just got all their alts in. That was a big issue with the Preach Gaming community. So, what's the alternative? And that's what this one is. So I actually have two Preach communities on my Warlock because I'm part of the Horde only, and then this is the account bound one, which made far more sense. So the account bound one, again, it's 1,000 users max, but you could join on a character and it didn't matter. You could jump around your characters and it would be your account that was here. Absolutely fantastic. Great. Problem was with the Horde one, the one where you had to join your characters, you could just right click on the character and you could join them, so you could invite them. So you could say, hey, I'm doing some, this at the moment is on Horde looking for group. Hey, I'm going to do an M+. This is my key, who wants to join me? And somebody would say, yo, I'm up for that. And you just right click on them and you'd invite them. Fantastic. You can't do that in this one. So there was brilliant aspects on both sides, but it never came together very well, which was frustrating, and that side of it has not been fixed going forward with communities. So yeah, take this Find a Community with a pinch of salt. There's still going to be the same issues that there were before. Hello, fellow person. Sorry. I actually really adore, going off on a tangent as I often do, the dwarf starting area. It was my first real experience in World of Warcraft, and I always have a soft spot for this area. I have a soft spot for the dwarves, and I have a soft spot for this area. I have very fond memories of my my dwarf warrior. Happy days. So community, again, very much the same as the guilds. We have social dungeons, exactly the same. Then we have members. So this is where we have a slight difference. We can sort by the most members. So if we go dungeons, we want to do some dungeons, and of course the most members is going to give us a huge pool, and then there we go. So not exactly great pickings here. I will say my this is not great pickings. I was going to say my server is not fantastic. I'm on Chamber of Aspects. It's not a vastly huge server. What about if we look at raids? Yeah, this is kind of a sad testament to where communities are at the moment. They're not great, and it's such a good tool that is sadly not being used very well. But yeah, so then we can just, again, we pick our role, and we can just click to join particular groups. Hopefully this gets some love. This gets some work. The Finder is great. That is a fantastic tool, and I think it'll work really well for guilds. Communities, it was never an issue of people finding the communities or joining them. They were all over the WoW forums, everything else. They were flawed themselves. They were inherently just not great. The functionality of one was... half of it was great and the other half was awful. And then when you went on the account bound, half of it was great and it was the other half that was awful. So hopefully, as I say, they can do something with communities and really bring them back, because I think those people that say, like a lot of my characters, they're in their own guilds. Small guild, I might not want to leave all of those. I might not want to jump those characters into different guilds, but I still want to do M+, I still want to do raiding. Communities is a great place for that. Great place to bring different groups together. So that needs to be done, ladies and gentlemen. Fingers crossed this will lead to good things. Go out there. Find yourself a guild if you're not already part of one. We live in a world in current WoW, retail, whatever you want to call it, where you don't need to. You can go and do your merry business all on your own. But something that Classic taught us is in Classic you had to join a guild if you wanted to progress to the higher levels of doing things. It was a necessity, but it then meant, hey, one, you had no fear of doing it because you had to do it, and I want to get that fat loot, so I have to join a guild. And then, do you know what? It's not scary. It's some really nice people. It's a lot of fun, and it will bring a whole new dimension, a whole new aspect to your World of Warcraft play. That, though, is a subject for another time. I hope you have an amazing day, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Yo, Dwarfy dude, let's give these people a wave. Have a good one, everybody. I'll catch you all later.